Back a conversation with Günter Grass, the Nobel recipient and German writer. Stay with us. Günter Grass is here. He first achieved literary stardom with his 1959 novel, The Tin Drum. Many critics have hailed that book as the greatest German novel since the end of World War II. In the decades since, Grass has established himself as one of Germany's leading intellectuals. He's often been called that country's moral compass as the country has struggled to come to terms with its dark history during World War II. In 1999, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. His new memoir is called Peeling the Onion. The book caused a storm of controversy upon its publication in Germany last year because of revelations that he served with the Waffen-SS. He's here in the United States at a series of appearances, and there is an exhibition of his graphic works for the last 30 years at the Stephen Kasher Gallery. It'll be there until July 28th. I am pleased to have him back at this table. Great to have you. Are you surprised by the reaction to this admission on your part?
I think this debate was, they said it's too late that I tell this detail of my young years, but you need a special age to look back and to write about your young years. And I always had this wish to do it. It took me years and years to begin it and to describe all the circumstances. I did grow up from the beginning in a closed society. When Hitler came to power in 1933, I was 6 years old, and the beginning of the war in my hometown Danzig, I describe, I was 12 years old. My knowledge was very limited, yes, and did grow up in a middle-class family. Nobody told me. And I wrote mostly about the questions I didn't ask.
The questions you didn't ask.
You didn't ask. Perhaps when I was 12 years old, the war started. An uncle of mine, he worked in the Polish post office. Danzig was in this time, up to the beginning of the war, a free city. And he worked there, and he survived this short battle, but then he was shot down with all the others by the Germans. And in my family, nobody speak anymore about this uncle. My mother liked him very much, but it wasn't opportune to speak about it. But I didn't ask the questions. And I still remember this kind of shame was growing. Why you didn't ask these questions? Later on, when on school time, a teacher was taken away from the school, we didn't ask why he was taken away. But it was sure. He was going to the next concentration camp, next Danzig. Mm-hmm. The name of this concentration camp was Stutthof, a terrible concentration camp. All these crimes, the knowledge about these crimes, he had after the war, yes? But I think this is not enough to say I was young. Yes, sure, I was young, I didn't understand, but I also didn't ask the good questions.
Why not? Other than young.
Yes, this is the reason. Peeling the onion is to look. Memory is not what's open. Yes, you have to take one skin after another one and ask again. I think I was from the beginning occupied by my obsessions, pictures. With 12 years, I was sure I will be an artist. I lived in a kind of fantasy world. And perhaps I think this is one of the reasons I didn't ask the questions.
After the war,
yeah.
Did you feel guilty about this?
I did believe up to the end of, like an idiot, that we are on the right side and we will win the war.
Until the end of the war?
Until the war. It was still, we believing in the miracle weapons, yes, they told us before. As I said, we were stupid. And I too. Then it was a shock. Now you can say, looking back, that give us freedom. But my feeling, and I describe this feeling, is we were beaten, yes, and the first thing we saw, then I was in the last weeks of the war. I was wounded in a hospital, and then the American army came, and I saw first time American soldiers. And afterwards, when out of this hospital, came to an American prison camp, and then from step by step, this shock. No, it was lasting a long time, but it take me months to understand more and more what terrible crimes were done by the Germans. At first, I didn't believe. I said that it's not possible that German people were be able to do things like this. When I saw the first photos of Bergen-Belsen, the concentration camp, it was a shock for me. And first, I didn't believe, and it took me.
When did you believe?
There was also a very absurd situation. 1 year later was the trial of Nuremberg. And in the radio I heard my former youth leader of the Hitler Youth, Baldo von Schirach.
Right.
And he said, we did these crimes. We did these crimes, and he accused the Hitler Youth. He said, my boys, they didn't know anything. But I believed him still. When he is saying this, it must be true. That was, in a way, it was a help for me to hear his voice on the radio.
What did you think of Hitler?
Hitler was for us like a phantom. Yes, when something was going wrong, people said, if the Führer would know.